topics that challenge us to think outside the limitations of realism, where we test the boundaries of imagination and are forced to think outside the confines and restrictions of what is normal. We are the creators, the writers, the artists, and the insane. Welcome to our weird realities.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Weird Awakening. Great to have you with us. All right, tonight we're going to be talking about MK Ultra. They were a top secret. It was a top secret CIA project where they conducted like hundreds of experiments. Sometimes the people they were experimenting on did not know they were being experimented on. They were assessing the potential use of LSD and other drugs for mind control, information gathering, and psychological torture. It lasted for about 20 years, from the early 50s to the early 70s. And then I think it was about 75 when it became public, and Congress investigated into the illegal activities that the CIA was involved in.
I'm sure they just stopped.
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. When they realized they were doing wrong.
Yeah.
You know, that was the end of it. That was the end of it.
Oops.
Oops. There you go. All right, everyone. We've got Tully and Cecil and Stephen with us tonight, and we're going to delve into Project MK Ultra.
MK Ultra.
Yes, or McUltra if you're.
McUltra.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and this one, this one isn't a conspiracy theory. This one happened. I mean, there's no question. It's just the depth of which it happened and whether it ever actually stopped.
I don't think it did.
No.
If you look at the Project Mockingbird, which they supposedly stopped in the 70s when they got figured out, and compare it to what's happening in the media now, it's pretty obvious that they tend not to stop things.
Yeah. Well, what I actually believe is MK Ultra and Project Mockingbird, they merged.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yep. I've always heard that a lot of like the talking heads that you see, across the board on TV are probably involved somehow.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they even had colleges and different scientific groups funding this.
Mm-hmm.
There were tons of extra people outside of the government even that were involved in it. And it was even going on at the same time in Canada. It kind of reached out to there and everything.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest media personalities in our lifetime has probably been that Anderson Cooper guy. Right? His mom or somebody was like heavily into the CIA. She's
Gloria Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
I mean, so like I said, she's up in the higher echelons of everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
do you think that this period would be considered the groovy CIA?
Yeah, I figured they thought so many people were already on drugs. What were a few more?
I think the Cold War era was probably the downfall of the CIA in terms of integrity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I think that's where this started. Somebody had it in their head that Russia and the Chinese and everyone were already doing these things and that we needed to catch up. And of course, LSD was actually started as the early versions of Viagra. That's actually a true statement, Tully. No shit.
Yeah. It was created in Sweden.
No, just
on me.
Yeah, I was about to say. I just thinking about that.
Well, I guess that would go along with with part of their training, how they would dose the Johns.
There you go.
In their brothels.
That's right.
And then somebody from the CIA would sit there and observe.
With a drink.
I'm just imagining getting ready to rock, and all of a sudden it hits you. And you're like, actually, I just fell into the floor.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you see American Gods?
I still haven't got to watch it.
Okay. Well, there's this one ancient goddess that literally absorbed guys. So I could imagine that being a trip. Literally somebody having a trip and oh my God, I'm going in and never coming back out again.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, with LSD, acid, it's the same thing. And how many of the rock and rollers from the '70s they took their acid trips? No telling what they were seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that destroys that really hurts is that the Grateful Dead was probably just one big CIA plant because that they were mainly used to distribute acid amongst like younger people and things, and it was more than likely due to this.
Mhm.
And my dad had a friend who was like one of the roadies, I guess you would call it, for the Grateful Dead.
Yeah, we gave him a ride one time. He was hitchhiking.
Oh yeah. He was hitchhiking. Me and Cecil used to pick up hitchhikers if we were going north, and this guy had a cardboard sign with sparkly letters that said Lexington bound, and he was going to, I think he was going to serve a warrant, or
he'll turn himself in for a warrant.
Yeah, turn himself in for a warrant. But that's besides the point. This guy, to talk to him, he was gone. He had taken so many hallucinogens that he was just like in a perpetual state almost.
Yeah.
He talked through ground teeth, like, yeah, guys, I'm gonna go to.
Well, that was probably because of the benzos.
Yeah, sure.
Well, and ironically, prior to this experiment, the previous work on hallucinogens were Nazi doctors in concentration camps.
Yeah.
So, what does that make us, our government?
Well, they didn't lose. They just rebranded.
There you go. That's it.
Yeah, we're talking about Project Paperclip there when we brought all this German scientists over. And some of the experiments that they did on people they had in the camps were, oh my goodness, they were horrible beyond words what they did.
Do you think that they made them sign a piece of paper like say, I won't do it again when they got drafted?
No, I think they had the Nuremberg. They had Nuremberg and had faces that they put on public hanging and all of that good stuff. But the actual intellects they weren't the ones hanging for that.
No, what was it? Less than 10 people actually hung for all the war crimes in Germany.
How many were drafted? Like 1,400 or something?
Oh,
there was a bunch.
And the Project Paperclip.
I mean, Hitler wasn't there. He was already off in Argentina, I believe.
He was chilling down there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, what happened to all the U-boats that disappeared?
Right.
Where'd they go to? So and some of the, I mean, just like with twins, because I tell you, there's a thing I've been meaning to send you. The 100th monkey. I need to send it to you sometime so you can look at it. But with the German scientists, they were trying to get twins to. They believe that they could communicate telepathically.
Oh,
and they would burn one twin to see if the other twin would feel it. Just like with conjoined twins, they separated, and they would burn one to see if the other one felt it. I'm talking horrible stuff. They didn't do this just to the Jews. I mean, there were also gypsies and other groups that they considered to be
non-desirables.
Yeah.
They that always. Yeah, I mean, obviously the Jews were the big one, but there's definitely it was all non-desirable people that they were testing this stuff on.
Yeah, and you had to prove your genealogy pure. I think 4 or 5 generations back.
Yeah,
me
and you would probably went, Steve, but Tully would probably been all right.
Yeah, I probably.
Hey, look, I
wouldn't have passed. I'm sorry.
We used to pick at my younger brother. We do have some German on my mom's side, and my brother right under me and myself, we're both dark-headed, dark eyes, olive complected. My baby brother is blonde hair, blue-green eyes, and just snow white. So we used to pick at him about being a Nazi. And I'm like, serious, they would not have. You would have passed. We wouldn't have.
My wife and my daughters, they're all blonde headed. My daughters are, the blue green eyes. My son, his hair is darker than mine.
Right. Like I said, I mean, if they went strictly on looks alone, half of my family would be
I don't know.
doomed.
I would have probably. My beard almost looks red in the sun.
Being Irish.
Yeah, I do have Irish heritage,
Yeah.
but to get back on the MK Ultra stuff.
Yeah.
So obviously, we think that it's still in play today. They probably just merged it with Mockingbird and called it something else.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Well,
have you ever? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's just the thought that I was having is the music industry. Back in the 70s, they were taking LSD and stuff like that, but the music industry today, especially like the pop and rap categories.
Yes.
I've seen videos of like Cardi B's handler, and she's doing an interview and just turns off, like it's scary looking. I'll see if I can find the video so we can play it.
Well, and that was another thing too. Like I said, it's that when they started it, they took volunteers, and there were a lot of people who volunteered for it. But there was one lady, I think her name was Shire or Shriver or something like that. She went in the hospital for what today would have been considered, maybe anxiety or something like that. And they were putting 5 and 6 hallucinogens and barbiturates and stuff in her at a time over the course of multiple days. She slept for like days on end.
80.
Was it 80? Okay,
80
I can't remember
days.
how much it was, but I
then
knew
they
it
had
was
another one that slept for 88 days.
right. And she never knew that they were doing this to her. She just went in because she felt bad.
Yeah.
And everything. So, how many people, I think they said that there were like 150 people that they were aware of, but how many people did they do this to that never knew it?
Yeah. Yeah. It was just like the one CIA agent that they dosed him. He was unaware of it. And he went on a bad trip. And of course, the way people have been suicided, I guess that's just a long pattern,
Okay.
But they claim that he jumped from a hotel room window, but he didn't have any cut marks on his face or anything like that from him going through a window. They did find a spot where it looked like he'd been hit with a hammer on his head. So
yeah, because didn't his family actually ask them to do another autopsy?
Yes, his son did.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So, and there's some things that you can't see in this video, but I'll talk about it afterwards. But just watch her face. She's in the middle of an interview, so you can see she's all happy, and then boom, like did you see her like tremble, like just absolutely. And you can't tell in this shot, but literally everybody, when she does this, everybody around her also stops and is like, uh-oh.
Hey, Laura.
Like these people just looking around like I don't know. You get what I'm saying, though.
Well, she's admitted to being like a former prostitute, like she would Robert Johns and things like that. And that goes hand in hand with Project Monarch. And like Steven said, it's a good possibility that everything like Project Monarch, Project MK Ultra, Project Mockingbird, hell, even Project Pegasus is all kind of combined to make one solid thing.
Yeah.
Little miniature departments.
Well, when you mix that too with, I know we've never done a proper episode on cloning.
No.
But whenever you mix in the cloning component when it comes to the music industry, especially, like if you're cloning people, like MK Ultra would be super useful in that application.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about Eminem's hair turning brown and he's got a beard?
I really don't think that's the same Eminem.
He looks like he's 23 years old. Like he looks younger than I do.
Yeah.
Have crow's feet.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hello.
Hey, Jennifer.
Well, tell me, you sent me that photo of George Soros.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of creepy.
What?
Yeah, who was that again?
Melted piece of clay.
It
George
was,
Soros.
oh yeah, being the father of Zelensky,
Yeah.
I think was the conspiracy.
Well, I mean, that's all over the place. If you take Justin Trudeau and held him up against Fidel
Yeah.
Castro,
Well, yeah, if you take the picture was George Soros right next to Zelensky, and they look dead on. Like it.
Yeah.
there was a lot of that
Mhm.
going around. Well, it probably still does. A lot of intermingling, I guess.
Well, and who was Angela Merkel's father?
They claim it's Hitler.
Hitler, yeah.
Yeah.
And then who
And
was Alistair's daughter?
Barbara Bush,
Gotcha. Okay.
Alistair Crowley.
Yeah.
hmm
Alistair Crowley.
Yeah.
Did,
They said Barbara
did
Bush
you
was her-
did you
his
ever
daughter.
watch the program? Oh crap! Hang on, my mind just went totally blank.
Yeah, Elizabeth, I saw something on that too, where she said that she didn't want to do it because, like basically the demons wasn't worth it or something. Avril Lavigne,
That's a good one.
that Paul.
Yeah.
Oh,
Paul,
actually,
Paul wasn't cloned. He was replaced by a lookalike that had surgery. We're actually going to be doing an episode of that coming up soon.
yep, we're gonna do a Paul McCartney series.
Orphan Black. It was a BBC series that lasted about 5 seasons, and it was about cloning. And besides the fact that the girl who played the clones was amazing, I mean, you would have thought these were actually different people. But it's the same girl that played every character. She even ended up playing, a trans self. She ended up playing male characters. I mean, she did a fantastic job of it. But it was all, about the government having a secret, experiment where they were cloning people.
Or there's that show that dropped this week too, that Mike Myers show. It's supposed to be like. Have you watched any of it, Cecil?
I've watched a few episodes of it. Yeah.
How is it?
Pronounce it.
Is it like making fun of conspiracies or?
Kinda, yeah. Yeah.
He's a strange one. What was it? This is a little bit off subject. What was the show you were telling me about not too long ago, Tully? Moon something that you had watched?
Moonfall.
Was it Moonfall? Okay, I could not remember for the life of me. Let me put that on my list.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty good movie. It had some conspiracies crossed over into like the moon being hollow.
Mm-hmm.
It might have even crossed into I can't remember whether it crossed into Hollow Earth or not, but it definitely the moon hollow, and also like a little bit of simulation theory in there.
Gotcha.
But overall, really good. I thought it was a good movie compared to a lot of the garbage that's coming out.
Yeah, well, you got to take the garbage with the good, evidently. So, but anyway, back on subject. So, they weren't just giving people LSD in this. I mean, the guy that was in charge of it. I mean, there were situations where they were using, electroshock. They were, there was rape being used. I mean, there were all of these things that they were doing while they had these people, in altered states, just to see. Because his comment, I think what it was something along the lines of, the only way you can control a brain is by first emptying out everything in it and then filling it back up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like the lightest form of that would be like military boot camp, right?
Right, exactly.
Like how they break you down and build you back up again.
Yeah. So, his drug use, I think, was how he intended to get there. Was,
they also used alcohol in MK Ultra.
Yep.
Heavy alcohol use. What was it? There's something else that I saw that was interesting. I'll have to think about it. Someone else jump in for a second. You say.
Yeah, with some of this stuff right here, some of these, I just say cults. They'll start with abuse, and through abuse, they'll build. They'll teach a person to compartmentalize, and a lot of these memories that they have from early childhood. Kathy O'Brien, she was one of the MK Ultra survivors who became a whistleblower on the thing, and she talked about that. And I mean, it's been used in other religious cults.
Why
and
do you
stuff.
think, like, why do you think there was able to be whistleblowers? Like today, they just get dead. Like, you know what I mean? Like nobody's blowing the whistle on any of that stuff today.
Maybe people
Right.
could hold a secret a little better back then until they got to somebody of importance or something. Like, you know.
Well, I think what happened with her is she had there was somebody who, I guess, had pity on her and basically got her away from it and allowed her to get away.
And you know, people that I think a lot of times that the majority of the people that end up unalived are probably people that have some kind of clout behind them. For the most part, I think they just try to make everybody seem crazy.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of crazy,
which is what the term conspiracy theorists came from, was to make people sound like they were ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that during that era, people who claimed alien abduction, they were programmed through MK Ultra, like they were actually being experimented on in MK Ultra, and they didn't remember the actual experiment, but they were programmed to think they were abducted by aliens.
Yeah,
Right.
That's something that could be done for sure with LSD. Especially if you take like 20 or 30 hits, you would think it'd be easy to trick somebody into.
You know, and supposedly some well-known people, you know, volunteered, you know, for the LSD experiments. I don't think they realized necessarily that it was part of a bigger thing, but figured, you know, hey, we'll do acid. The lyricist for the Grateful Dead supposedly did. Whitey Bulger, the mobster.
Yep.
And then Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, supposedly was a volunteer for it.
And,
I have a theory
Charles
that
Manson claimed
that
also.
Yeah. Yep.
I think a lot of serial killers were CIA assets.
I've read that too, Elizabeth.
Yep. Yeah, it's I could see that because, like I said, you know, most military, or at least especially back then, because, you know, I think now it's not, there is a certain amount of it, but I just don't think people are as invested nowadays as they were back then. But
another thing I saw was maybe that it went back even further than what we think, and that when Rockefeller infiltrated health and changed everything over to like petroleum-based drugs, that was a move in the chess game toward MK Ultra. Like the whole pharmaceutical industry is geared toward, you know, overall control in some aspects. Obviously, different medications do different things, and some of them are great, but some of them not so great.
Isn't it so crazy to look back over history at things that were considered conspiracy theories, like the Tuskegee experiments, Project Mockingbird, and all this, and they come out to be true, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to quit." And now, when you bring up something that you think is probably falling along the lines of something like this, everybody's like, "Oh, you're crazy as hell. They wouldn't do that. Why would they do that? Why did they do it back then?" You know.
And maybe the better question is, why wouldn't they do that?
Exactly.
You know.
Well, my view is they're after a much larger audience now. You know, just like the Tully sent me a video today about that and how they're going to pull off some kind of big illusion. You know,
like the blue beam.
Yeah, Project Blue Beam. You know, it's the alien invasion. You know, they've got bigger plans than what we're aware of now. So I mean, if you have a whistleblower from the MK Ultra, I mean, they've already moved on past it. It's just like with military planes and stuff like that. You know, with the SR-71, it was developed. It was built 1959, and it wasn't until 1980 before we knew about it.
They said that, you know, how you always hear, that the technology that they have is like 20, 30 years ahead of us.
Yeah.
that they hide it from us. I heard someone recently say, like someone I think who had like DEF CON level clearance, and he was like, "That's absolutely false. It's more like a century ahead."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's probably like crazy that the types of technology that they have that they're just hiding from everybody.
Oh yeah, because they release them a little at a time to keep people thinking we're advancing.
I'll tell you the big one.
I
The big
cannot.
one was,
I can't get cell phone service in the town we grew up in, but a military guy can get on the internet, Facebook in the middle of a friggin' desert. Like, that's got blows my mind.
The desert has underground towers, Cecil.
another huge component of all of the control is this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like
I'm looking at mine every 10 seconds right now. I can't turn my eyes away from it.
If you think about it, like when cell phones first came to the point where they were affordable to everybody,
Right.
all cell phone companies and cell phone makers, they were all making different looking phones, and you could choose what you wanted, and it wasn't connected to the internet. And then as soon as the iPhone came out, everybody started making phones. I mean, they all look essentially the same now.
Oh, yeah.
And it's Black Mirror, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they can track you. They know where you're at, even if you have your phone off.
Yeah.
With certain apps, they can still track you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, if I put it in my trusty little lead line bag that I carry around, that's just buy one.
You know what? I did make a purchase over the last week. I finally broke down and got an EMF just to check out what's hitting and what's not.
Oh yeah, without a question, Laura.
Mm-hmm.
And it all comes back to this, like it's a strong control, because imagine now, like I know people that's legitimately addicted, like strongly addicted to social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and stuff like that. Imagine if they shut that down tomorrow, like just the internet went away. How many people would go friggin' insane?
Oh, absolutely.
They did. Do you remember they did the dry run where they shut Facebook down for a day? You remember that?
It wasn't a day. It was like 30 minutes, wasn't it?
It was a good part of a day. And
I didn't even know.
Well, and I'm honest to goodness, I'm not that person that sits there staring at my phone. If I'm up doing something, I'll leave it in another room, go do what I'm doing, and I'll think about it and go back to it. But when I do pick it up, my dogs will actually come up and slap it out of your hand. And, I firmly trust that dog's instinct because that's all they're going on.
If I could remember phone numbers, I'd switch back to a landline.
Uh-huh. I can remember phone numbers from before there were cell phones. I can remember the phone number I grew up with, and it's been on for 22 years.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. That just reminded me. I got a message today from Verizon, and they're like, you could save $20 on your bill if you switch over to a 5G plan. And I it's like, nothing's free. You know what I mean? Like if it's free, you're the product. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I'm not. That's to me a kind of experimentation too. What data are they taking away from you every day through that phone? Because there have been times, and this is no joke, this is God's honest truth. I have been thinking about something I want to look up and type one letter and it pop up in my window. Something I've never looked up before on my phone.
What's scary is stuff that you think about just
don't say out loud.
Yeah.
Me and Cecil were doing an experiment with that a few weeks ago, and I forget exactly what it was. It may have been like a month ago, but before I went to bed, I thought of something completely random. It was like a.
I've got the beat.
I thought of a color. It was a color and a random object.
Yeah.
And the very next day, I pulled up. I have a bad habit about scrolling on TikTok, which you guys already know. And as soon as I pulled up TikTok, I saw the random item and color of the item that I was thinking about. And I haven't tried it since. I probably need to do that a little more. But even Rachel says that it happens to her. She'll just be thinking about something and definitely know that you've not said it out loud,
Mhm.
And
and then
I
you
don't
say
think
it.
I don't think that's them reading our minds here. I think it's the data they've collected on us. They can just kind of predict
Right.
what's going
Yeah.
to happen.
That would have to be like
Hmm.
crazy AI. Like
That's what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
they've got enough metadata on all of us, but to be able to predict like the chaos factor is what I mean.
Mhm.
Like the AI would have to be off the hook.
Yeah. Well, the algorithms that I think part of that, Tully, is going to be where the algorithms and the AI that they have, like Cecil was talking about, they know they know what our patterns are, they know what our preferences are, and they're able to go about it that way. And then they'll add some stuff in saying, hey, this right here is the latest greatest thing. You need this.
and think about it like this too. There's so much shit that they put on there.
Yeah.
Like if they have enough data for you and you scroll through 300 videos, they're eventually going to hit something you're thinking about.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like with Facebook. Anytime I've ever looked at anything, I mean, it wouldn't matter whether I was looking up smokers or whatever. If I would use Google, well, if I would go later to get on Facebook, well, the ads that I would see on Facebook would be smokers or things like that.
Mhm.
Barbecue
Do you
grills.
remember?
That's
Do
wild.
you remember when they first told, at the beginning, they're like in the beginning of all of this social media, they were like, absolutely not. You're crazy. They're not listening to you. And then somebody found like internal documents and leaked them, and they're like, they're absolutely listening
Yeah,
to you.
yeah.
Mhm.
And everybody was just like, oh. And then they're like, oh well, like they just
Yeah.
keep scrolling.
The
But
guy
you know,
that found that out too is probably a CIA agent. That was Mr. Edward Snowden, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was he the one that exposed social media?
He's the one that
Or-
exposed that they were listening and everything.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that goes
So,
back to the early 2000s. Department of Homeland Security.
oh yeah,
That's when they started
9/11.
tracking everything. Was in the early 2003 or 4,
Mhm.
whenever they passed those laws,
Yep.
and they gathered all that evidence on every cell phone, all the emails, everything else. They've
I'm
got
telling that's
they've
another
got
thing.
yeah.
No, I'm going to dip my toe into this for just 1 second, but can I just say that George Bush is literally a war criminal, and he's walking around today.
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
That might get banned. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Yes,
Yeah.
the Patriot Act.
Yeah.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Jennifer.
But and that's the thing. I remember when all that came out, and then Facebook, to try to make it right, would let you download everything they had in your account. They had phone numbers that were not even on my computer,
Yeah.
that were in my phone. And at that point, I had not hooked my phone. You couldn't plug your phone into your computer. It was before smartphones.
Mhm.
But, I would have information and stuff in there that was not on my computer. And I'm like, good God, what all are they listening to?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
It's one of those deals where, I think the ultimate goal is to keep everybody just distracted all the time so that nobody cares about all of these things that are happening in the real world.
Distracted or hating one another.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Divisive. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Tully
Yeah.
thinks this, so we're going to tell Stephen that, and it's going to
Right.
piss him off. I mean,
Yeah.
people don't come together like, okay, a perfect example. I would never want another 9/11, but the people in this country the day after 9/11 were awesome to each other. I mean,
Mhm.
everything. So
Yes.
that I
That's
miss.
because of Tim McGraw.
Hey, Tim McGraw's awesome. Okay, he just really is.
All you had to do was hit a strum, and everybody was on board.
That's right. But hey, whatever works. At least we got along.
Yeah. And then
Yes.
yes,
Elizabeth,
that's Project
absolutely.
Mockingbird.
It's hard to know. They that's what they want, though. They put out so much information
Mhm.
that it's hard to know what the truth is, and then when the truth is in there, it's like you don't really know. You're questioning it so much.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, because back when I was actively, arguing with people about politics and stuff like that, I mean, I ran out of energy. I can't do it anymore. But
I can't do it either.
yeah, but they'd be like, "Oh, well, this, and this," and I'm like, "Yeah, but I can find 15 other things that say that that's wrong. You
Mhm.
can find 15 things that say it's right. It depends on where you look."
Yeah.
So
Some of it I think they put out on purpose, because it's like,
yeah,
if you're on target, on point, your truths, and then they throw like a landmine out there, so it's like, okay, these people believe this crazy thing and it's absolutely false, and we can prove that it's false, so
Mhm.
everything else that they think must be completely false.
right.
And going
Yeah.
back to Facebook, what we was talking about earlier, do you not find it very strange that DARPA was creating a social media platform? It's called Live, right?
And it ended the day before.
And it ended the day before Facebook went live.
hmm
Yeah.
Isn't that strange?
Well, they figured out that people would just give their information. They didn't have to be
Yeah.
secretive.
No.
Everybody signed up for it.
And it's
But yeah.
something cool, where they wasn't giving out data. There's no ads, man. You remember back then?
But I remember when LiveJournal was the big thing. Yes, I'm that damn old. But at the same time, somebody came out with Dead Journal, and you couldn't just join it. They had a whole different set of rules, and that's the one I liked because I didn't have 5,000 people trying to be my friends. It's just a handful. Because most people didn't even know it existed. You had to send invitations to your friends if you wanted them to join.
See, that's why I like Telegram,
Mhm.
because you literally don't talk to people.
Right.
like you can just look at what you want to look at.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've seen Telegram, but I have not used Telegram, so I'm not very familiar with that one.
Well,
But to tie in though to MK Ultra, why could social media not be an experiment?
It is for sure.
Yeah.
And what kills me is MySpace was so much better than Facebook.
Oh yeah.
So much
Tom's,
better.
as
But-
soon as Tom left, everybody was like, "Let's get out of here."
Well, what happened was Tom sold out for $50-something million. It was like, I'm gonna chill, which okay.
Yeah.
Can you blame him?
Hell no.
He's got a bunker somewhere where he's living the high life.
Chilling out, living the dream. And then
Yep.
and then Facebook just blew up. Boom.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I think Facebook is going the other way now because
It is.
I mean, most of the people that are on Facebook anymore, I think the ones that are active on it are probably 35 and older.
My husband
The young people are not
yeah.
into it.
My husband actually got on Facebook because he gets in Facebook jail. Like he's back on Facebook for under 24 hours, then he's back in jail. So now he's on TikTok.
Well, so that's another thing. So TikTok is a Chinese app,
Mhm.
and there's not going to be. So yeah, I'll say that TikTok is probably the last frontier for conspiracy, like true
I think it's
crazy conspiracy stuff.
It's highly corrupted too, because trolls, my wife gets on there, goes live, and she has trolls that come on there and they say the same things.
It's
They have
bots.
the same profile pictures. It looks like bots.
So it's just
Yeah.
like anything else with the dead internet theory, where you're literally 75% of the stuff that you see could be bots.
Mhm.
But as far as like the videos themselves, it's the only place where you can talk about certain things.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I think that's on purpose. Like I think that they're probably gathering, especially like political
Smart guy.
MySpace.
Yeah. I did have a MySpace. I don't have a Facebook. I
MySpace.
probably still have a MySpace if MySpace is still up.
No.
It is. It is.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Because about once a year I go through and check all of my bookmarks, and I've got a couple of friends that had MySpace pages, and I can click and it'll take me to them.
MySpace was real gangster because you could put who was your best friends like right in front of everybody's face. Here's my top 8 fool. This is who's riding with me.
Yeah, I never did have a MySpace, but I saw it. You know, I knew people who had it. So
Yep. So like
I
I said,
think
It had theme
What?
music.
I was just thinking about why I don't have a Facebook, and it's because there's so many people on Facebook that will post things, and this is going to sound kind of cold uh, coming out, but I I see stuff that people post, and it'll be like, something about their personal lives, like, oh, like it's drama or whatever, and I just look at that, and it'll have like 50 likes, and that instant gratification is why people have Facebook, so they can post a picture, they get 50 or 100 likes, and they're like, oh, everybody loves me, or they can post their feelings, and oh, everybody loves me. But when I see stuff like that, I'm just like, look, nobody cares about what you're feeling right now. Like, nobody truly actually gives a shit. Excuse my language. Other than your closest people, like your closest friends, your closest family. People may throw a like out there, but it's like a dopamine hit for people, and it's like a rat in a cage. The rat's going to keep hitting the button to get cheese.
right.
yeah,
Well, and that's my thing too. There is so little personal that I post on social media because if I'm close to you, I'm going to tell you what's going on with me. I'm not going to post it for the whole world. And then you see people posting some of this stuff on social media, and then somebody else comes back and says, "Oh, well, have you tried this?" Then they get bent out of shape because people are responding to them. If you don't want people to comment, don't put it on there.
Yes.
It's very, very rare for me to ever post anything on any social media platform. I don't know. I'm just not comfortable with it. It's just like if I did go on vacation somewhere.
34K on what, Laurel?
On Facebook?
You had 34,000 on Facebook?
Are you famous and we just don't know about it?
I can't. I keep mine down to a 300 something.
Yeah.
I'll TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok. I have like one subscriber on TikTok because I've been on there twice.
Yeah, hey, right there with you, bud. And it might be Tully that's my follower.
I'm telling you, it's easy to get into, especially when it starts showing you stuff that you're interested in. Like I think mine usually just shows me like food and conspiracy theories.
Look, my husband's been on there a month and is almost up to 8,000 followers.
Wow.
Because he gets on there and interacts and everything. I don't have that kind of time. And I don't do TikTok because, to be honest, it pisses me off. I mean, I don't like people pranking each other. I don't like stupid, so I would be okay with conspiracy theories and food.
It hones in real quick. It took about a day for it to learn what I was into, and now every third thing.
What you just said about it being stupid, though, it comes from China. If you checked out China's TikTok, it is nothing like ours.
Yeah.
The algorithm, you mean? That's a study that they did, so that the TikTok algorithm in America is geared to show you kind of ignorant things in general. The algorithm in China is completely different. It shows them like
positive images,
stylistic things, like collegiate things, learning,
something to further your mind, basically.
Right. And see,
which TikTok are we going to do?
I'm probably on Pinterest more than anything because, I do a lot of craft stuff, a lot of art stuff. I cook a lot. Those are the kind of things that interest me. So,
I didn't even know Pinterest is still alive.
Oh, hell yeah. It's actually one of the biggest growing ones. But
really?
I don't have to deal with people. All I do is collect the crap I want. And it's got a huge like folder system, and my OCD is happy. So,
You know what I thought about the other day?
what's that?
Photo bucket. You remember that?
I do remember Photo Bucket.
Nostalgia.
Vaguely. What does that have to do with MK Ultra?
Nothing. Well, actually, probably everything.
It was the
No,
early
no.
days of metadata.
Yes, I honestly do. I do believe social media of all kinds are an experiment. I don't know what their long game is. Probably just mind control, because, like you say, so many people get so deep into it that they let everything go. You know,
Well,
and when I got off of Facebook back in 2000, I was off for 3.5 years, and I would have people come, oh, you need to get back on, get back on. I'm like, no, I'm not getting back on. And she's like, but why? I said, I went to the doctor. I've been off a month and a half or 2 months, something like that. And she cut my blood pressure medicine to a third. I said, the reason? I'm not on social media. That's the only difference between now and last time I went.
Yeah.
So obviously it's not good for me, and that's when I was debating politics and stuff too. So,
and I wasn't fair a minute ago when I said, so, okay. So that it's a double-edged sword. So even though I feel the way that I do about social media, I'm here right now with you guys on camera.
right.
But with the understanding that I do this really to talk to, like, it's awesome having conversations with people who are popping in on Facebook and other platforms, and we appreciate you guys being here. But I'm in the full understanding that no one also gives a shit about me and my feelings,
right?
And I'm here more for the general conversation than to be like, oh, people want to hear things that I have to say. I don't think that at all.
Exactly. I just enjoy hanging out with you guys.
That's what I enjoy. I enjoy conversations a lot more than scrolling through a social media app.
Absolutely.
No, that is one good thing that the social medias and things like these have done. It lets us interact with people from around the world. Like, we would never met each other if it hadn't been for this.
Exactly.
Well, Jennifer and Laura, it's awesome that you guys are here. We appreciate you being here. It's just I don't have any expectations of anybody caring about anything that I have to say. And Elizabeth, sorry.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Like I said, it's because you get on here and you have a good time and you have a good conversation. And if other people can also enjoy that, that's great. That's just an added bonus. So, and like I said, and I like that when they have input and everything, because, they see things a lot of times that just we don't think about. So, I think that's awesome.
Yeah. So how can we tie in? I told you every episode I'm going to try to.
I was fixing to say, don't you do it.
So we got to tie in CERN somehow.
CERN is an experiment, Tully, to see how many people believe that they can open a wormhole to another dimension.
I believe they can.
Yeah, they're trying desperately hard to accomplish that. I'm not sure they're trying to send anything out other than gravity. I really believe they're wanting to open it up to bring something else in.
I think they've already figured out how to open it. I think they're just trying to figure out how to sustain it now.
I think they need to read Jonathan Mayberry's series, and they would change their minds about that crap, because that could open up way more than they want.
So I'm a very earthy person. Like, I love gardening and stuff like that. And I don't know if you guys have noticed this. It could just be in my head. I feel like this year plants and everything are growing really fast.
Yeah, my potatoes came up so fast it shocked me.
Yeah,
like it's almost like, and I know we talk about this every week, but it's almost like time space is being messed with a little bit.
Multiverses.
There's definitely multiverses.
Multiverse. I don't think that's a theory anymore.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, MK Ultra.
Well, like I said, I do think that a lot of this does tie into it, in the fact that it's just one more experiment that the government's doing on us and everybody else.
We need.
There's a lot of famous people talking to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We need to talk
Jennifer.
about-
I'm sorry, Todd. Go ahead.
Oh, you're good. You're good, Jennifer. We love having you.
Yeah.
We're here
Yeah,
every
really do.
Friday. If you don't have anything better to do,
Yeah. And if you have something you want to specifically talk about, throw it out there and we'll work it in.
Yeah,
And
we-
we'll talk
we-
about
we
for
were
about
actually-
15 minutes and then go off the rails for about
Every
those are
time.
the best. Those are the best ones, though.
They really are, because we still talk about stuff that's really
yeah.
awesome,
Mhm.
but we kind of get started, you know.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
And I think we're planning on. Was it at the end of the year that we're planning on doing just a show where we ask for
Yeah.
subjects for next year?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. We're going to do a whole show before Christmas, because we'll shut down the last couple of weeks of the year and just say, tell us what you want to talk about, and then we'll schedule them out and start covering them first of the year.
Yeah.
I've already got the list started.
Throw clones on there.
It's on there right under RH
Oh,
negative. So, but yeah, like I said, because that's where was I going with that? It's your fault, Cecil. It's your fault. But like I said, it's like with phones. Perfect example. Like you say, they're all basically built the exact same way as the iPhone. Most likely, if you took them apart, laid them down side by side, you would not be able to tell them apart. What is it sending into my brain and then pulling back out?
Mhm.
What kind of information is it collecting?
Yeah.
Well, and I'm sure you guys have seen all the stuff with Bluetooth.
Mhm.
Like when Bluetooth first came out, I was like, nobody's going to use this. I remember seeing it on the phone for the first time, and I'm like, nobody's going to use this.
I literally just started using mine this week. I'm joking. My wife got me some wireless
Very
earbuds.
possible.
They
Yeah.
definitely are.
And I'm going to be honest. I'm that person. If they ever make it implantable, I'll be the first one in line. I have gone to sleep with my Bluetooth in my
Get
ear.
out of here. Get
I'm
out of
dead
here.
serious.
If they make an implant, I'm like, Jesus is real. I'm out.
Hey, no. And you want to know what's really scary about that is the fact I get migraines. I've gotten them since I was a child. They run in my family. The Migraine Institute of Texas sent me an invitation to participate in their new device.
Okay.
They put a battery pack in your hip, run these wires up your spine into your temples next to your brain on the inside. And when it thinks you're getting a migraine, it sends little pulses. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? I'm not letting that shit in me. But I'm gonna have that Bluetooth implant.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
man.
Dead serious. I'm like, thank
You're
you.
done.
But no, thank
done.
you. I'm just not doing that. Because, okay, what if the battery pack springs a leak in your butt?
Yeah, exactly.
What if it shorts out and sends an extra hard electrical shock to your brain? We know how electroshock goes.
Yeah, you're gonna get you'll have a lobotomy.
Exactly. Or worse, it'll send me into what was that? What was it? Judge Dredd, where they had the son that was all messed up in the desert, and they put him on ultra speed. He went like crazy trying to kill Sylvester Stallone. Yeah, that would happen. Because when I get depressed, I don't get sad. I get homicidal.
See, it don't matter if it's Bluetooth or what. The implants is where I draw the line.
Yeah. I mean, and I say that tongue in cheek, but like I said, I literally am the person. And I think what it was, I worked at AT&T for a couple of years, so I got used to having that thing on my head. So, like I said, I'll go to bed and just roll over and then feel it in my ear. Yeah, there you go.
Idiocracy was a documentary, if you didn't know.
It damn sure was.
Jesus.
It was. There is no question.
Oh,
I heard somebody speaking Valley Girl Hillbilly and all that the other day. Like, it sounded like they were straight from that. They was like, and dude, cheese and shit. No,
Oh my
it's what
goodness.
plants crave.
So the Valley Girl talk is making a comeback.
It's a Valley Girl, hillbilly. What was the combination of the languages they all blended? Is redneck, hillbilly, Valley Girl, and Cholo or something like that.
So something else we should talk about since sometime is all the symbology in like all these company logos and app logos and stuff. Like Bluetooth is literally runes. Like the symbol for Bluetooth.
Yep.
That's all Project Mockingbird, man. Really, I mean, it's all the same shit. They just spilled over into everything else.
And I can't remember. There's a reason for that. Those runes that they used for Bluetooth. It was related to I think a specific person.
Harold Bluetooth is who the Bluetooth is named after. He was a Viking. Bluetooth is actually a Scandinavian invention.
He had blue teeth.
Yeah, Harold Bluetooth.
See, we should definitely have an episode where we dive into stuff like that. I bet a lot of like normie people probably don't know that.
The one thing that sealed it up for me that I thought that most celebrities are tied in is the downfall of Amanda Bynes. Remember Amanda Bynes?
You think she
went off the deep end?
Yeah. They said that she was schizophrenic, but she later went on Twitter to reveal that she had a microchip implanted in her brain, and she said she would not be manipulated and brainwashed anymore.
Really?
That's crazy.
See, that's the crazy stuff that Elon
This
talks
was
about
after she
sometimes.
set fire to her neighbor's driveway.
Yeah. I like Elon, but sometimes he scares me with some of the stuff he talks about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be honest. He's not a human. There's no way that man's a human being. It's like Mark Zuckerberg, that picture that he posted with all of his colleagues where they're just like,
oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like those people, you couldn't convince me that they're human beings. There's no way.
Yeah. Makes you wonder. It's yeah. I don't know. There seems to be more evidence for clones all the time.
Yeah. Well, and Mark even what was it? Somebody was talking about how he was eating toast or something. And he was like, "Well, when I was a human being."
Yeah.
Like great.
Who talks like that?
Okay. Yeah. Remember the movie The Sixth Day? Where they were doing cloning behind the scenes and nobody knew about it because it was against the law.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy was talking about, this is, going on, yada, yada, yada. So we wouldn't know about it if they were, especially if they were that far advanced.
Supposed to be huge cloning facilities that they have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Before we end tonight, did you guys see that doorway on Mars that was found this week?
No.
Stop it.
A doorway on Mars.
Do you think that's where the cloning factory is?
Dude, stop.
Is it close to the face on Mars?
No, dude, they found it for real. It was cool. Look it up after this. Everybody
it's right there next to the child sex farm.
That's it.
That's what's going to get us banned.
Yeah, I was talking about some of what Tony's talking about a while ago. I think we might have to do that show on Rumble,
Right. Yeah, we definitely can't talk about that. But speaking of Mars.
Or how Disney's getting caught for it every day.
So the whole Mars thing, I saw an article last year where they're like, yeah, we're surveying Mars with a drone when it would literally be impossible to have downward thrust in that atmosphere to be able to fly anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did.
That's absolutely true.
That's absolutely true.
Yep.
You know what?
Yeah. Face on Mars, the pyramid. Yeah.
Speaking of pyramids, did you know the largest Bass Pro Shop is a pyramid?
Didn't know that.
It's in Memphis, Tennessee, and it is a silver pyramid. That's so
random. Yeah. That's right. They used to be something else. Anyway, Bass Pro Shop bought it. Yeah, it's the Memphis Pyramid. Yeah.
The one in Seville's got good gator tail.
Yeah, that's the one right there on Interstate 40.
Yeah, it was crazy to me. I didn't know that they had repurposed the building. I was just like, the Bass Pro executives were like, let's build a pyramid and put some fish in it.
pyramid's the strongest structure. I mean, if you don't
Yeah.
have a house.
Luxor in
Oh,
Vegas.
hey guys, I need you to send me your addresses offline because I have orgonite pyramids for y'all.
Oh,
Really?
Oh,
Cool.
I'm concerned about you sitting in front of your computers without protection.
well, like I
Okay.
said, I got the EMF right here.
Mhm.
I got the World Trade Centers watching over me. So I mean,
I've got this.
Hey, you didn't show everybody your hat. Not the new one.
Oh, my hat. Should I put it on?
Yes, absolutely.
Here we go.
There we go. It kind of has a turtle shape to it.
Yeah, I'm not near as creative as what some people are. So
Yeah,
I basically just took a sheet of aluminum foil and pressed it down and folded the ends up. So,
there you go. Yes, shungite's awesome.
y'all.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a good
But you-
episode, I think.
It has. It has. And I guess we're at time. But, it's been great. Next week, we're talking cryptids.
Ooh.
So be thinking about who you want to cover. We'll try not to cover each other. They're not required, Jennifer, but you are welcome to send us a picture.
yeah.
Yes, we're talking about cryptids next week, not water cryptids. That's the following week.
Yeah.
Is it the one? Do we have another guest coming on? Or
I am
Is Logan-
inviting. I was going to ask Logan if he wanted to come next week, and I'm going to ask Max Hawthorne to join us.
The
Well,
week after.
I'm gonna have to get a different book for the water creatures, and if Max is gonna go with this book I got.
Yeah.
We want to see you in a mermaid costume, Cecil.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's what
I
I
had
like
my-
to hear.
I had my
Cecil
tinfoil
makes a-
hat tonight, so Cecil gets to wear his mermaid costume. There you go.
yes, Cecil makes a pretty woman.
I do.
It's the eyes. It's the eyes, isn't it?
There was one year we went to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and it's just him dressed up like a woman,
I was getting loose.
and he's drinking Bud Heavy out of a Twizzler.
I didn't want to mess my lipstick up.
There's always really good drag at the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Tim Curry, by far one of the greatest actors of all time.
Oh yeah. Have you ever seen? And then we're going to call it a night. Have you ever seen the movie Oscar? It's Sylvester Stallone as a gangster, and he promises his father on his deathbed that he'll get out of the business. And Tim Curry as a linguist. That's awesome. I love it. But watch that one if you get time. Oscar is hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. So anyway, guys, we appreciate you joining us tonight. Don't forget to like us. Tell us if there's something that we're doing wrong. Definitely tell us if we're doing something right, and let us know if there's anything you'd like us to talk about.
Yeah.
Until next time, stay weird.